Before we get started on you guys identifying an unknown compound, I just want to show you guys some examples of student work so you are aware of some of the things I'm looking for, because I don't want you guys to accidentally make something like a silly mistake that's going to cost you big points. So, with chemistry standards, they are generally easier, I would say, than a lot of the other science subjects. However, the downside of the chemistry standards is that they are very nitpicky about the details, and small mistakes can cost you really big, and that's why I want to point it out to you guys so you're aware. So, overall, this student knows what they are doing, but there are some little things that the student has done that is resulting in them not getting the excellence that they should. So, here are some things to kind of keep in mind. The first thing is, the issue I had was the justification. Now, even though this justification is great, since the green precipitate formed, the unknown cation B is Fe2+, and it is the only cation that forms with a green precipitate when reacting with NaOH. That is a good justification. However, when we look at the assessment criteria, which I hopefully have pulled up, I thought I opened. Let me pause and find it. Oh, I did. It's on the word. All right. This is the checklist that I gave you guys, and I have broken it down into the different achieve merit excellence criteria. So, this one here, I've explained my process and how I've identified the unknown ionic compound. So that was the justification section. This is at merit level. However, for the excellence, or did I not include it in here? Oh, I did not include it in here. I should add that in here. So, oh, here we go. Nope, this is what I want. I can explain how I identified the precipitate using the solubility rules. So, in this student example, they did not have anything about the solubility rules. So they should say something like, all hydroxides are insoluble except group 1. Fe2+ is not in group 1. Therefore, I know I have a precipitate. Yeah? So I need that for merit. This is one reason why this student would have been marked at an achieve. There's not the depth of understanding that I am looking for. The other issue is really silly, and that is forgetting the chew for the hydroxide. Okay? So I just want you guys to be mindful of it. Now, anyone that wants to work online and write the report online, that is fine. The only thing you have to be mindful of is that you need to know how to do the superscripts and subscripts on the Google Doc. And I'm happy to show you guys it. It's just part of the chemistry language. You should get used to it, and you have to know those shortcuts. So if you don't have the super and subscripts correct, then the equation is actually not communicating the chemistry properly, and that is part of how we mark is, are you using the language? That mistake actually carried through. So this second one that they did also is marked and achieved, missing solubility rules, missing the 3. This one on the back. So this one's a little bit more complicated because this one had a complex ion. Missing some of the observations, the precipitate disappeared. They just said the solution turned blue. You should be getting a little bit more detail there. This one over here, I'm just writing SR. So if you guys see SR written down on any of your work, that means you're not doing solubility rules. Again, the 2, and then missing the Y for this justification. Again, so this one here is a little bit tricky because in this case here, we're talking about the ammonia solution. We add 2 drops of ammonia. Remember, ammonia is a weak base, so it's providing hydroxide ions. So you're writing this up as the one above, basically, with the same solubility rules. Hydroxide is available. And then this one here, you need to note why the precipitate disappeared. And that's just basically going to the solubility rules. Or not solubility rules, just that complex ions are soluble. Which is an excellence requirement now for your justification. So you need to tell me that you know that the ionic compound has now formed a complex ion, and complex ions are soluble, therefore the precipitate has disappeared. Okay? So just kind of keep in mind about those things. Remember, this here is all about the, what's the word I'm looking for? This is all the practical section of the internal. And then after you guys do the practical section, you're going to have a lesson to do some write-up. This won't take you too long because I don't need like an essay. I just need a couple of paragraphs explaining the significance of the ion on humans and the environment. Or I should say ionic compound, but you're going to look at them obviously as 2 individual ions. Cool? Questions, concerns, or comments? All right. Now, something to keep in mind that I'm going to be doing on the assessment and for today, and whenever we do ionic compounds, is I'm going to give you 2 solutions. I'm going to give you 1 beaker that's going to have the cation and 1 beaker that's going to have the anion. The reason why I've done that is because if I just give it to you both in one solution, there is the potential that it's going to interfere with your identification, because some of the tests that you do for the cations can also react with the anion. So that's why I'm separating them, so that way you can know for sure which of these two are which. But then you put it back together and you identify it as the ionic compound. If you guys look on your piece of paper, you will notice, or if you look on the Google Doc, I have this first line just to identify what we're doing. So we're going to go unknown ionic compound number 1. I think we're only going to probably have time for one. I've purposely not double-sided it, so that way if you need more space, you can write on the back. The other thing you should be keeping in mind that is new is that at the bottom here, I wrote the unknown ionic compound is. You need to combine the cation that you identified and the anion you identified and put it together. Okay? I will get you guys the solutions. I had to think about which ones I want to give you, so let me give me a second. But yeah, that's it.